The National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa has called the Minister of Public Enterprises' refusal to divulge information or details with regards to the SAA deal as a state capture 2.0. And Phakamile Hlubi-Majola joins us now for a little bit more on that, including that High Court decision on Mango Airlines. Phakamile, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. Just this past weekend, the President says the following. I would say to the Minister, go and meet the committee and outline to the committee the various issues they are concerned about, because there's nothing to hide. Is the President less than genuine in that remark?
Good evening, Thabo, and good evening to your viewers. Thank you so much for having me on the line. Of course, we welcome the President's remarks when he calls on Minister Pravin Gordhan to simply disclose, because the facts are that he needs to disclose. This is regarding the sale of a state-owned entity. As the public, we have the right to know what process DPE followed in appointing Takatso. How did they come to the conclusion that Takatso, out of all of the preferred bidders, was the right consortium to go with? Secondly, we need to understand how they arrived at the amount of 51 Rand as the sale figure, what we understand is the sale figure for SAA. And all of those details, the Minister is refusing to divulge. And NUMSA has been consistent to say there is something very dodgy about this SAA deal, and that Pravin Gordhan is behaving like someone who's got something to hide. And this is why we have actually characterized the deal as corrupt. And we welcome the decision by the Portfolio Committee in Public Enterprises to subpoena him, because as South Africans, we deserve to know. We must know all the details regarding this deal. We must know what process was followed. We must know why Takatso was chosen. And we must understand how it is that they came to the amount that they came to as the sale price for this airline. Yeah.
Disclosure for or at least protecting disclosure for the sake of your commercial interests, I mean, it's something that generally is, I suppose, done in a commercial space. Why immediately, because of that refusal to disclose, would you quickly conclude that there is corruption? In fact, you call it a stinks of corruption.
Stinks of corruption,
yeah,
yes, it does stink. It does stink of corruption, because our understanding is that Pravin handpicked Takatso to be the ones, to be the preferred service provider for this, to be the preferred, equity partner for this deal. And this is why we say it stinks of corruption, particularly because the Harith, which happens to be one of the shareholders in Takatso, happens to be Jabu Muleketi, who has ties to the governing party. So if there was nothing wrong with this deal, if there was nothing wrong with the process that DPE followed to appoint Takatso, then why is Pravin behaving in such a cagey, dodgy manner? Why is he not, even to the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee, disclosing that information so that they can make an assessment for themselves as to whether processes were followed or not? And by the way, I think, Thabo, you and I have had conversations about this for a long time. From the time that the announcement was made that Takatso was the preferred consortium for this deal, NUMSA and also the SA Cabin Crew Association raised the alarm early on to say there's something very wrong with this process, where we don't have all the answers about how they arrived at this particular consortium as the right consortium. You'll also recall that one of the allegations which was made by the former DG of Public Enterprises is that the valuation which was done on SA at the time was grossly undervalued. And that in and of itself must be investigated. We must understand how they arrived at the valuation that they got to. Why was it that the Takatso Consortium was the one that was allowed to do the valuation and not an independent body? So there's a lot of questions and not enough answers. And we're not satisfied with the explanations that Pravin Gordhan has given thus far.
So the interim board now at SAA saying at least they are expecting in the 2023-2024 financial year to report a little bit of a profit, not a massive amount of it. But one then wonders whether this equity partner deal should still happen.
That's a very good question. And that's the same question that NUMSA has been asking all along. SAA, in light of the most recent financials, we are told that it actually looks like it's going to be making a profit. The argument that DPE gave for why SAA needed a strategic equity partner was that they said that this was an airline that would consistently depend on the public purse. Well, SAA has demonstrated that it doesn't depend on the public purse. So then why then must we rush this transaction, this very murky transaction that continues to be shrouded in secrecy, where there's no information about the details of this deal? Of course it stinks of corruption. Of course it stinks of a minister who's trying to engineer an outcome that may not necessarily be in the interest of the public. And we continue to ask questions as NUMSA as to why is it that they keep pushing the agenda of the privatization of SAA when right now SAA has shown that it can stand on its feet without any support from the public.
Speaking of engineering an outcome, what do you think is an outcome that is being engineered on this SAA sale of Mango Airline, and why you would support the decision of the High Court?
NUMSA definitely supports the decision of the High Court, where they basically dismissed the DPE's application for leave to appeal. We agree with what the judges said in their judgment, which is that there is no rationale for why DPE continues to block the process and the finalization of the sale of Mango. If you recall, Thabo, the conditions for Mango to even receive the funding for the business rescue process was that a strategic equity partner must be found to take over the entire sale, the entire control and ownership of Mango. The business rescue practitioner conceded to the demands of SAA and DPE specifically on this. All of the boxes that were demanded were ticked. And right at the 11th hour, when DPE, in terms of the PFMA, must now make a decision on this transaction, Pravin refuses to take a decision. It is our view that Pravin is trying to sabotage Mango for reasons known only to himself, because I can tell you now, there's no shareholder that's going to hang around for long periods of time in perpetuity with no sort of guarantee that the sale is being finalized. NUMSA was able to negotiate with the business rescue practitioner that if this sale is finalized, then those workers who were retrenched would basically be given the first who would be most likely to be re-employed in the new airline. This decision taken by Pravin to delay the process places the shareholder in limbo, it places workers in limbo, and it's just unfair. And he to date cannot give a rational, logical explanation for why he will not finalize the sale. And this is why we're saying he's sabotaging the deal.
Phakamile Hlubi-Majola, appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on, speaking on behalf of NUMSA, their spokesperson, Phakamile Hlubi-Majola.